Hello there. We're starting again with the markets, where we've seen some sharp falls this Tuesday.
Yes, we have, Catherine, and we can take a look at what's happening in Europe. Those markets now just open for about 15 minutes. Also seeing some drops on the major European markets. You can see between about 0.5% and 1% there. Now that follows falls on the Asian markets in their trading session this Tuesday, particularly the Nikkei. That was down at the close by 2.6%. Now, a lot of this reflects what we've talked about a lot and seen for months, this nervousness over anticipation that the US Federal Reserve is planning to taper its stimulus program. And that's also been a factor in the declining fortunes of many emerging market currencies, in particular the Indian rupee, which we've been taking a look at. I can tell you in this Tuesday's trading, that's hit a new low again, 64 against the US dollar. And the central bank there in India has taken a number of measures to try to calm things down, but it seems to have had the opposite effects. There was some limited capital controls, for example, but it's failed to stop the slide. And we're seeing that across a lot of these emerging market currencies. Now, the Indian rupee is off by at least 12%. This is so far this year. But in Brazil and South Africa, the currencies there, in fact, faring even worse against the dollar.
All right, we're going to move on now to the Palestinian territories, Matthew. Very interesting story, this one. One man who took his discovery of a bug on Facebook, he took that right to the top.
He did. This is a man called Khalil Shreateh was his name. He discovered a privacy issue on Facebook. And the way Facebook usually works is if somebody discovers something and tells them about it, they will give them a reward. I think it's about $500. Well, he claims that he found his emails were ignored, so he took a slightly more different route to get things noticed. Nicholas Rushworth has more.
Facebook pays what's called a white hat fee of €375 to people spotting techie glitches. Khalil Shreateh was convinced that the money was his. Instead, a Facebook official ignored his report of a privacy setting bug, not once, but twice.
I told him that I can post to Mark Zuckerberg timeline himself to prove to you that this is a bug, this is a real bug. Waited after 24 hours, I got no reply, so I start posting to Mark Zuckerberg timeline.
Facebook didn't like that. The social network did not pay up. The Palestinian unemployed programmer could have sold the information on the black market for thousands. Instead, he's reviewing job offers from around the world.
Actually, I'm so proud to be as a Palestinian guy who discovered that exploit in Facebook. So proud to discover that from all among the world.
Good news then in the end for Khalil in Hebron. Bad news for Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook in oh-so-connected California.
Okay, heading next to the Ukraine, where a ban on chocolate imports has become something much more serious. Tell us more about that.
Yes, it has. That chocolate ban started last month between Russia and the Ukraine, but now Russia seems to be blocking all imports from, or rather exports from Ukraine, or at least severely delaying their passage. Well, our correspondent there, Gulliver Cragg, has been to the Russian-Ukrainian border and tells us more.
Ukrainian haulage companies say they continue to face severe delays when trying to cross into Russia. Russian customs officials have said that they have placed Ukrainian products on a high-risk list, necessitating such stringent border checks as to render exports practically unviable for many companies, but that is a temporary measure. They say, though, that it could be made permanent if Ukraine signs a free trade deal with the European Union this November. That association agreement, which is on the table, is the largest of its kind that the European Union has ever drawn up with a third country, and both Europe and Russia have made it clear that it's either or for Ukraine, either this agreement with the European Union or the option of joining Vladimir Putin's customs union with Russia, Kazakhstan and Belarus. Now, currently, nearly a quarter of Ukrainian exports go to Russia, so the idea here would seem to be to give Ukrainian entrepreneurs a taste of the pain, as it were, of the losses that they might incur if Ukraine signs this deal with the European Union, and therefore to entice them to put pressure on their government not to take this step.
Well, I have to say, Matthew, a chocolate ban sounds like my worst nightmare. Anyway, moving swiftly on, Switzerland's also placed a block on a certain kind of export, this time to North Korea.
Yes, now the country's leader, Kim Jong-un, wants to have a new ski resort built and ready by the end of the year. But Switzerland has blocked a deal for a rather important component of that, and that is ski lifts. It says that this is all part of sanctions on luxury exports, because Switzerland says that, in fact, this ski resort is only only planned for the well-to-do in North Korea, not for
the elite
everybody. Exactly. So the Swiss company Barthollet Maschinenbau was expected to get around 5 million euros in value out of this deal. That's now been blocked, and they're going to have trouble finding a replacement because both Austria and France have already said that they're also not going to allow such exports.
Okay, well, yeah, it doesn't. I can't really imagine what it would look like, a North Korean ski resort, but it's not getting off the ground, is it? There. Thanks very much indeed, Matthew Warren, there with the business update. All right, it's time now for a look through the world newspapers. It's